Welcome back, everyone. So in previous session, we finally chose something for our project in this season, and we initiated the project, and it's time to actually start building it. So this is, let's come back here, close these things here, and yeah. So this is what we are going to design, and let's start by the menu section. So as you can see, we have a menu at the top of this website, and let's start by that. This one, I don't think what this MAHA is, I don't know, but I imagine that this is a logo, maybe something. But let's think that this is a logo, and we are going to place our logo inside there, because usually in the menu of the website, in the header or menu, we will call it, people put logos there actually. So let's go inside our HTML code, and inside this HTML, I'm going to first of all introduce some new tags. See, we all saw div tag and this div tag is actually pretty useful and it's used a lot, but there are some other tags that they are very similar to div. They create a division, but they have a specific name, okay, which that name represents what's this division for. For example, we had a tag called head and body. There's another tag called header. So see, this header is different with that head. Don't forget that. This header, just imagine that this is a div tag. It just looks like a div tag. It functions completely like a div tag. And but it just has a name, and this name actually helps us for having a better code readability, because if someone comes to this codes and opens the code and reads the code, when he sees the header tag, that person immediately understands that this is a header tag and it's for the header section. So we have a header section, we have a footer section. Okay, this is another div, another element, we can say, that looks like a div, and that footer would be used for the footer of our website, and that this part is our footer here. So those tags are were introduced in HTML5, and the other tag is main tag. We have a main tag also. So this main tag, it's for the main content of our website. So those, and actually there's another tag called aside. For example, imagine that you are creating an admin dashboard. You can see all the admin dashboard they all have an aside menu. You can put those things at aside tag. But in this example, we do not have a aside tag. And they call it layout tags. Say search layout tags, tags HTML. I think there was something in W3 schools. Yes, from, let's say, W2, let's put the W3 there. Yes, HTML layout tags, they are called, maybe. So see, this is it, maybe. Let's go inside the code. Why don't I see the codes? Web layout, because it's supposed to have a button called try it yourself, things like that. I don't know. Let's search again, HTML layout tags. Because I wanted to make sure that, oh yes, this is it. This is what I was looking for. See, header tag, and we have also a nav tag. See, a main tag, a side tag, footer tag, and you can see we can go inside our try it yourself and see that there are a lot of other tags here. See, I thought that it has that things. Okay, anyway, the point is clear. I just wanted to say that we have so many other tags, and when we are building a website, it's good to use these header tag or a side tag or footer tag or main tag or nav tag, things like that. And nav is short for navigation. Okay, so let's close this one. Sorry, why did I close that? It was the project that we had. So inside our header tag, I can we may, some people they use header tag and a nav tag they separately, but I'm going to put my nav tag inside my header because this would be my nav bar. I'm going to put my nav bar inside that. So if we take a look at this here, first of all, it has a logo section and it has a nav bar here. So we can come back here and create another div here and give it a class of logo. Okay, and we have a nav bar here, and I give it a class of menu. Okay, and this would be our header, and let's hit enter. And for the main tag and the footer tag, we will fix them in future for sure. So let's start by this one, and the logo section is what we are going to start with. And if we are going to use a logo, we need to have a logo. That's obvious. So there's a logo.png. I can put that inside the CV folder. And we had an img folder, right? So let's move that to there. So now inside this img folder, we have a logo. So I can attach this img, so I can go say img src. The src is you need to go inside img folder and there's a logo.png and you can attach that. And for the alt, do you remember what alt is used for? Well, it has some search engine optimization aspects. It's good for search engines to understand what your picture is. So since this image that we are using is a logo of your daily codes, we use the your daily codes for the alts of this one. So, but if we come here, hit refresh, you can see that the image is loaded. But the image that we loaded, since we haven't applied any CSS to this, so it's just being displayed as it is. So we need to, first of all, make that smaller. And second of all, we need to apply that background color and things like that to our body. So let's go ahead and we use CSS, use comments in our CSS later on, because now it's just a small CSS code. But if when our CSS code goes a little bigger and we write more CSS code, we need to have comments in our CSS in order to separate them all. So inside our body, the first thing that I do is to give a background color, give a background color of our dark. See, our dark color is what we are going to use. And since the body has a default margin, and I'm going to remove that thing. So as you remember, we had a star selector, and that star selector we usually put margin 0. It's kind of my looks like my signature, this star selector with margin 0, padding 0, and not my signature. Actually, so many developers I have seen that they all use this margin 0, padding 0, and border box. Not box sizing, sorry, not border box, box sizing, border box. This is something that I like to put in all of my projects, so I put it there as well. So let's come back to the image that we were trying to pick, and I'm going to assign a class to this, and I call it logo. And since I already gave this to here, so I call it logo section. Yeah, why not? And here inside my let's create those comments right now. Header section. Okay, these are the section. So let's Control D, Control Alt U, Control / to comment this, and this would be importing fonts, this part. Okay, and here let's turn on caps lock, turn on importing fonts, and root variables Okay, and this would be our root variables here. Let's hit enter. I want to have extra space in my codes. That's what I like. And general selectors here. So these two, by general selector I mean when we select a, for example, like this star selector, or we select a whole tag. For example, this what happens to body tag, the p tag, everything like that. And this would be our header section. In our header section we have a logo. Now we can turn on the caps lock. In logo section we have a logo, and I want you to select this dot logo, and I want you to set the height of this element to, for example, let's say 25 pixels, and the width of this element to 25 pixels. So let's see what happens. Hit refresh and you can see now that's 25 pixels. And I think that 25 pixel is very low. I can go ahead and change that to 50. Let's see how 50 looks like. And this is how 50 looks like. I think it's a little better. We may come back to and change the values probably. And also we can go ahead and select the header itself. So this would be our header. And inside our header we have two sections. One, the logo section, and the other one is the menu of ours. So I'm going to apply a flex display to that, because as you can see we have maybe a flex display here inside the header itself, and the justify content, well, we may set that on space evenly, things maybe like that. So let's give the display flex to this, but for now we do not apply any. Let's apply justify content space evenly for now. I'm not going to cover space evenly once again, because we have already covered display flex and justify content. But if you have forgotten, just pause the video. From now on, if you saw something and you forgot what was justify content space evenly, if you forget things like that, just pause the video for a moment and go and search in the documentation so that you can remember and you can follow along with the course. So and this is it. And inside this logo we have a nav section, and inside this nav section let's introduce a new tag, and that's called UL and LI. So UL is for unordered list, okay, and LI means list item. We have a UL tag and an LI tag, an OL tag. Let's see both of them for now, and let's imagine inside them are some tags: test 1 and test 2, test 3, okay, and these tests are also inside that OL tag. Okay, let's come back here, hit refresh and see the result. But we have forgotten to change the color, so that's why we do not see them. So let's go inside our body, and we have set the color to that, but we have forgotten to set the color. The color, it's probably not using absolute white in the colors. Let's see if it's using absolute white or similar to white. No, it's not absolute white. So it's a copy that. And let's see here, this would be our white color. Okay, and the color of the body, let's change the color of the body to our var white. Okay, let's come back here, hit refresh, and now of course we see the result. Let's zoom in a little bit, and as you can see, this is what UL and LI tags look. It looks like a bullet point list. And OL, of course, it's ordered list. So OL is ordered list and UL is unordered list. And usually when people are designing lists, you use UL and OL tag, and usually in their menu, in their nav bar, people usually use this UL and LI tag. Let's see if this person has used UL and LI tag, and of course he has used UL and LI tag, because one of the usages of UL and LI is for lists. Okay, and this menu is actually a list, and using UL and LI tag for these is actually a good idea. But I also showed you OL so that you can add to your information, but we do not need OL in this example. So, and also we can customize the list style type here. And for example, you can see it's using bullet. There are lots of other characters that you can use. Let's search a CSS list style type. Okay, and if we saw something from W3 schools, that would be great. You can see, let's see here, there's actually a CSS property called list style type. Okay, you can see here we have a UL called class A. Okay, and another UL called class B, called class C and D. And A and B and C and D, they all have different list style types. And let's imagine, let's have another UL here. Okay, and we do not apply any class to this UL, and let's run. As you can see, the default value for that is these I don't know what is actually is that called circle, is what that is called, but we have an idea that's what circle means, and that's what square mean, maybe. Yeah, ul.a. Yeah, so the point is they all have the ULs and OLs, they have something called list style type, and you can change that and you can see all the values for that. The default one, I don't know what is that, maybe it's circle, I don't know. You can search and find the name of the default one. The default one is this filled circle. So the first thing that I want to do, okay, to remove this list style type for this UL that we have, because in our menu you can see we have no circle, no nothing. So we can go ahead actually in menu, and we can go ahead inside our menu, select that menu, let's say dot menu, and inside this menu we have a class, and I call it, we can select the UL itself like this completely, it's okay completely, but we can also apply a class to this, and I call it a list. Okay, so go ahead and select the list that we have. Okay, and let's change this to, I now think that it's better to call that navbar and call this menu. This is, I think, better. I think this is better naming. Navbar and menu. Okay, go ahead and select, and this list style type, oh, it was disk, the value. I thought the default value for list style type is disk, and we in W3 schools we saw what circle is, and we can say list style type, we can set the list style type to none. Okay, and when we set the list style type to none, that's what happens. We can see that this is what's being displayed, and these are all being displayed. And if we come back here, hit inspect element on this, and let's turn off the responsive design, you can see that this is our nav, this is our UL, and these are all LIs. And these LIs, they do not have block display, but you can imagine that this behavior is just like block. So if you want to change the behavior, if you see the menu, the items are beside each other, not in different lines. So we can go ahead and apply display of flex to this. See, display flex, and when we set the display of this menu to flex, now we can control the items inside this menu from the menu itself. So we can hit refresh, as you can see now test 1, test 2, and test 3 are actually inside that. And since this video is getting long, so this is where we drop the video and end the video, and we continue working on this project from right here. We have created this test 1, test 2, test 3. We can imagine that they are from these links that we have. Now we fix the text as well too. And let's finish this session since this is getting too long, and we will continue working on this project from right here in the next session.